time is 7 o'clock. This is the October meeting of the Urbana Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. John, could you call the roll?
Annie Adams.
Present.
Susan Jones. Tommy Griscom. Chiyoshi Huang.
Yes.
Audrey Ishii.
Present.
Bruce Michelson. Enan Portis.
Present.
Sartak Prasad.
Present.
Nancy Westcott.
Present.
Harmon Franks. John Zeman filling in.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, are there any requests for changes to the agenda? No, we're good? Good. Looks pretty crowded. I don't know. I don't think we have minutes. Yeah, we have no minutes this time.
Correct,
So
no minutes.
We'll move on to public input. Is there any member of the public here that would like to address the commission? No? Okay. Thank you. What about commission communications? Does anybody have something they wish to speak to? No. Okay.
I'll just say, like, the campus bike plan public input is still open, so please send us your input.
Okay, you can remind us again at announcements.
Yep, I will.
Get it firmly entrenched in our heads. Thank you. Looks like we have no unfinished business this time. Awesome.
And say, Audrey, I was at the city council meeting last night, and I saw plans for that. Maybe John's going to talk about Lincoln Avenue.
Oh,
You
previewed.
No, if John's going to talk about it, I'm not going to talk about it.
I sure can. Yep.
You don't have to. I mean, all right.
Yep.
Okay. Reports of city officials and staff and reports of committees. We have two items here. The first is the packet I think John handed out, Florida Avenue.
Okay. I don't have a formal presentation prepared, but wanted to take this opportunity to talk through the Florida Avenue Lincoln to Ray shared use path and our preliminary plans that we have. You got the preliminary plans in your packet, and I got some hard copies here as well. This meeting was also, I was sent out direct notifications to residents and property owners located directly across Florida Avenue from this project, kind of immediately adjacent to the work, to particularly notify them about this meeting as an opportunity to learn more about the project, and not just that they needed to come to the meeting, but letting them know that this will be recorded and they can take a look at it at a later time. And so the project course is the shared use path going on the south side of the road of Florida Avenue from Lincoln Avenue to Race Street. Many of you are familiar with this from the Florida Avenue corridor study that was conducted, and of course our ITEP Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant that we applied for and were awarded, and that is the funding source we're using for this project. We're currently in design right now with final plans expected in March, and then hoping to go to bid the project in April. So looking for construction to mostly occur during the U of I summer break, with the expectation that construction will be completed before the end of next year. And so, and then this is a project, of course, it's led by the city of Urbana, but the project is located entirely on University of Illinois property. And so actually the path will be conveyed to the U of I for ownership and maintenance. And as such, we're building according to U of I standards, and U of I is a partner in reviewing the plans and coordinating the design efforts. So we have our consultant is Engineering Resource Associates, and they are guiding us through with producing plans and specifications. So let's see. The sheet 2 of the plans shows you the story of what is the path going to look like. What we're doing is looking at a cross section through the road. Say we're looking eastward, so the path will be on your right side as you're looking east, and it's going to be a 10-foot wide concrete path, set 6 foot to 9 foot behind the curb, and so we're providing a pretty healthy buffer. We've got a good amount of real estate to work with there, and for anybody kind of keeping score, we are at the same time designing the street improvements for Florida Avenue with a separate consultant. So what we're doing is we're trying to coordinate the modifications to the curb line that might happen with that street design with the location of the path, and giving ourselves a little extra space so that if, because this will get built first, and then if the street improvements have some changes, hopefully give ourselves some grace here, so if something happens, we're not having to rebuild the path too much.
Can you give me that, is it 6 feet, did you say?
6 to 9 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's, on the proposed typical section that's kind of in the middle of sheet 2, there is, kind of right at the end of the preliminary word, there's like a 6 foot to 9 foot mark that is going from that curb line. If you see the circled letter B, do you see that, Annie? Oh, I'm sorry. So we got printed on both sides of the page for your hard copies, and it's a little hard because it flipped over. I didn't do my printer very well, so I apologize about that. Yeah. I had this idea that I would save paper, and I just created a hassle. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm lazy when I print stuff up. I'm always like, oh, I don't know, it's there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, where there's that letter B, that's like the curb line. Yeah. And so, and of course, these are preliminary plans. This is kind of, we're getting comments from U of I, from us, from the city, and we'll do a cost check, and that might be may inform some of the decisions that we make when we check against the budget. But so I'm not going to say this is like the final, what it's going to look like at the end, but pretty close. You can skip page 3 unless you really like survey data. And then, and so this is, as you can see, this is my really sophisticated, I was just going to do a page turn with you guys. Anybody got questions, jump in.
My question is, I thought it was going to be 8 feet. I'm really excited to hear it's going to be 10 feet. And I'm also really excited about this 6 to 9 foot situation. It's nice to not be right up against traffic, but I also think it's nice that you're giving yourself a little space in case, wiggle room, in case you need something. In case the road comes in. Yeah, when the road situation
something
changes.
unexpected will come along, but yeah.
And how rarely do you get that opportunity?
I know.
That's what's incredible about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that I mean, as you guys know, a lot of you know better than I do, this has been a concept in the works for years, to which I just kind of came into it late in this. I got to waltz on into the city and, hey, let's apply for a grant. Hey, we got it, But, there's been a lot of thought, and we're really grateful to, the U of I being, supportive of this. It's really couldn't. This project could not happen without the U of I support and their willingness. It goes right in front of the president's house for one thing, so that's a big thing.
They're probably sick of them, like people like me walking through their driveway all the time.
Well, I understand this president's good for it, so that's cool. So the way we're going to, most of this is not super exciting. A lot of it, gets into some typical. It's just a straight path following the road. On sheet 4 of the plans, we do start at Lincoln Avenue. It's a little interesting because what we're going to do is have a little bit of a squiggly alignment here to tie into the existing curb ramp that's in the southeast corner of the intersection, with the understanding that when we come back with the full street improvements, there's going to be some changes made to this intersection. And so we were intentionally making that alignment so that it would work well with the future condition, where the path is going to do will more go straight across Lincoln, will go straight across Lincoln east-west. But for now, it's going to come in and have that diagonal curb ramp. Have I lost anybody yet? Okay, cool. And so you'll see there are called out these like X's with a circle in the middle. Those are some new light poles that are coming in. We're planning to replace the existing light poles that are on the south side of the road with a different style. I can touch on that towards the end. There'll be a detail of it. It'll be more the University of Illinois style that they're using throughout their campus. They're pedestrian size, like 12 foot, 14 foot, something like that, poles. There are going to be we're swinging wide at the beginning to avoid most of the mature trees there as we head east from Lincoln. It's hard to go without getting some trees, so we got to suck the trail back into the road once we get to the President of University's drive there. And there is a concept that we may adjust the curb line on Florida. We may soften that taper. If anybody's familiar with it, when you head eastbound on Florida there, it goes from 2 lanes to 1 lane, and there's like a merge that happens east of the intersection. So as one thing that came out of the corridor study is we may push that curb line out a little bit to soften the taper rate, just so it's not as abrupt. But we'll take a look at that with the street design.
The other thing about this additional 6 to 9 foot is it could be a bioswale if that's needed, or, I know that's expensive to install, but like I know they're looking into maybe a grant for that on Lincoln.
Yeah.
But it would be it would be pretty, and it would be a nice break between the street and the bike path, and it would do some good.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that, we're allowing that space for it. Like, even if we don't build it now, it has that space if the potential. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. Okay, and then moving on to sheet 5, we get there's Busey Avenue going to the north, and then there's the driveways into the president's house there. And one thing that will pop up here, kind of looking at where the N is in preliminary, there's a label that says like plus 03, 3 foot LT. That's pointing at a new tree, where our plan is to plant new trees. Now, we had a miscommunication on this one where I'm going to advise the designer to put the trees on the outside of the path, on the south side of the path. For the purposes of, we may need to have at times some lighting that is more hitting the street, and that's going to be dictated by how the street design goes, because we'll have certain lighting coverage that will be needed on the street itself. But so just to kind of give more space, and also to provide more of an open area there, we're going to look at putting the trees on the outside.
To be clear, you mean outside? On the other side.
Yeah, like not between the path and the street, but on the on the
on the president's house side.
Yeah, on the south side of the path. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's going to do. It'll start to go maybe a little faster, unless somebody wants to slow me down here. It gets as we keep going east on sheet 6 of the plans, we get to Orchard Street, and there's west of Orchard Street, there's a prairie area that the U of I has really developed, and it's a great area. We're going to be coming along just the edge of it, so we're working with the U of I just to kind of adjust the edge of that prairie area, so we're not in conflict with it. We'll just need to, be, probably, I imagine we'll probably do some fencing during construction to make sure equipment doesn't get into that area. We'll be, Orchard Street is really like the one street crossing that we're going to build as part of this project. Otherwise, we're just going, within, the grass area. So we'll be looking into what do we need to do here. There's not currently pedestrian signals at this Orchard traffic signal. We will be doing, with the street project, we'll be, replacing these signals, and we weren't wanting to get quite into that, level with the path project itself. So we'll try to work with the DOT kind of on that, the
Yeah,
sequencing of that stuff.
And right now, you can only cross on one side of that. You can't cross on both sides of that street. So
Mhm.
again, it's better just to wait until we get a good plan for Florida, for the street.
Right. That's the approach that we're taking. Is like, just trying to be able to, one, get this project out there on its own, but then be anticipating the future work that's coming. After you cross Orchard there, as you're heading east, you'll see the trail starts to kind of jog away from the road a little bit, and this is where we're anticipating an MTD bus turnout. So if you turn to, it's pretty well visible on sheet 7. This is going to incorporating what was in the corridor study of like a far side stop for the bus, like after an intersection rather than before an intersection, in the direction of travel. And so we'll have that turnout there. There'll be 2 of these turnouts in the project, one located here and the other one's located west of Vine, adjacent to Blair Park there.
And are
Yeah.
you able to do that with this grant? Or are we just sort of hoping that when we get the actual other Florida Avenue grant through, we'll do the bus bump outs?
The bump outs will come with the street project.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Cool.
we've got that shown as bus stop drop off by others, meaning like future work.
Oh, thank you for considering that. That's fantastic.
Well, I think it'll be really nice on Florida, and I think and it'll be interesting. And Chushi, I don't know if you from MTD have any thoughts. I've understood that there's pros and cons to the idea of having that bus turnout, leave the flow of traffic, but then have to go back into the flow of traffic. So there's good and bad about that.
I think the transportation engineers will worry more about that than MTD buses, and
Mhm.
this is the Orchard Down station. There are really good ridership,
Mhm.
so I think MTD will be willing to do whatever is best for the customers there. Yeah.
Nice.
I do have a question. I
Yeah.
didn't really understand. Is that like a platform for the bus stops, or like the lanes are getting wider, so like bus can actually pull in like an island, then pull out into the traffic?
Yeah, this bump out it's intended for the bus to pull out of traffic
Oh,
for the drop off. So, and there would be an opportunity to create like a pad there for the transit riders. Some of those details aren't worked out yet, but yeah, the intention primarily is to get the bus out of traffic while it does the pickup drop off, and then they can get
okay.
back into
Yeah, that's
the
nice.
travel lane. Yep.
And
Thank
if
you.
we did bus shelters, would that be part of the street grant, or is that another whole different grant?
I forget if we included that in the raise grant or not. That would be the time to do it. Yeah.
So just to confirm though, like the bump out that's going to be there for MTD drop off,
Mhm.
there will be a connection to the sidewalk or the shared use path, right?
I would say that detail hasn't been worked out yet. Yeah. But that's definitely worth a note right there.
But that will really ease traffic flow for the cars, for the vehicles, right?
Yeah,
Not have to be stopped behind.
Right, and avoid the situation of then, cars trying to go around the bus and coming in conflict, because without without a center turn lane, there's not really space to do that
Yeah,
on
but
the
it
street.
doesn't stop people from trying.
That's right, that's right.
And that is the right move, to put it after the stoplight? Okay.
Sorry, just making a note. Okay. All right. And then, okay, sheet 8 is where we just go across what is Carl Avenue north of Florida and is kind of an unused road into Orchard Downs to the south.
That is Bliss Drive.
What's that?
Bliss Drive.
Bliss Drive, nice,
Yeah.
nice. That will remain closed. Probably in the short term, potentially we'll work it out with the U of I. Probably those large planters will get kind of shifted up closer to the road, but we'll work out those details. And then over to sheet 9, we've already made it over to Race Street. So, the name of the game over here at Race Street is really to try to just tie in with the existing paths. There's an existing shared use path on the west side of Race Street. So we'll tie into that and see, and again, try not to get too much into changing what's happening with the curb ramp there just yet. Want to wait till we get to the street project for that. As we know that, as for probably anybody who's driven this, the Race Street intersection feels tight when you're there, and so we probably will be trying to make some curb adjustments with the street design to make sure turning movements are all provided for. And this, I'm sure there's going to be some, we'll have to reconstruct some small part of the path when we go to do the street project. We'll just try to minimize that, and I've got the two design teams coordinating with each other as best we can with their different schedules. But and then most of the rest of the sheets are like lighting details, so you're seeing a lot of the same view, but it's some of the lighting. And so then I'll skip ahead to sheet.
Wait, I actually have a light bulb question.
Yes, ma'am.
I would really like those light bulbs to be dark sky. And I know you said it's the university is doing the install, and so I don't know how much sway we have over this, but the light bulbs the university is currently putting in are bright, and they're blue, and they're ugly, and I know that this is a dark sky light in that obviously there's a cap on it, but it would be really ideal if we could figure out the right type of light bulb to get in those. Would be just absolutely lovely, because it's a one-time deal now that we're doing LED. I'm sure it'll be like an LED.
Right.
So it's sort of a one-time deal, like whatever we put in there is what we got next 50 years. Yeah, so if we can get this right, it would be great. And if there's anyone I need to talk to, I'm more than happy to talk to somebody. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for that comment. We'll be sure to discuss that with U of I. I know, so I'm looking here at sheet 13 now, and we've got just the two basic light details. And so, yeah, it's I don't know the right way to describe it, except it kind of looks like I don't know how you describe the shape of it, but it's got that flat top where the light is inside there. We specifying is it a 3,000 Kelvin temperature, and that's what we're asking the U of I. We are going to work with them to see what's going to be acceptable to them, as they're going to take ownership of it, and also just to make sure, because I want to say 4,000 might be the standard, Sartak. I don't know if it might be 4,000 is the standard, and so 3,000 is going to be that warmer appearance, what we're looking for, because I know that's the temperature we're trying to use in general in our residential areas. Yeah.
It avoids the Walmart parking lot feel.
Sure. And I think one thing we might do, we'll work on some of the details, like what kind of foundation will we use for the lights. We show concrete here. We might use more of a screw type foundation, or just direct bury. We'll kind of work the economics on that one. Yeah, and then what follows after that are really just cross sections every 50 feet, which are pretty bare right now as the preliminary plans. Really more to help when somebody's building it. It's not as interesting for general consumption, but yeah. So those are those plans, I guess.
John, on page 9.
Yes, ma'am.
With the Race Street intersection, does this reflect the design that's gone in for the RAISE grant and for signals, or is that geometry there, did that go in the RAISE grant, or?
Whatever changes we're going to make at the race intersection, we're really not building that with this path, because we anticipate that, like, I'd anticipate probably the last, like, 30 to 40 feet of the path we build might have to be rebuilt whenever we adjust the geometry there at the intersection. But, it's just kind of the nature of us doing this piece at a time, is we're going to have a little bit of that overlap.
So this represents just kind of a dummy design? It's not actually going to be implemented at this next summer?
No, this is what we will build.
Oh, this will be built next summer like this?
Right, it'll be built like this, but I anticipate the street may have a slightly adjusted geometry that we'll have to,
So which corners have been sheared off? It looks to me like it's maybe the southwest and the northeast corners have been, the curve has been relaxed there.
The line work can be a little deceiving here, where, and I should have said this earlier, what normal convention would be lighter, maybe dashed line work indicates existing conditions, and then a darker, bold line style would indicate proposed. Really, nothing is changing on the northwest, northeast, or southeast quadrants. It's just the southwest quadrant where we're tying into with this path. So there's no changes shown to the curb in this set of plans.
Okay,
right
just the southwest is being, yeah.
Yeah.
I just recently saw a bus have to pull way out into the, opposing lane to turn there. I know it's very tight for buses. Yeah.
What direction were they going? Were they going north?
They were
north
going
to west?
south.
They were going south.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's definitely.
Well, I mean, they were making a turn. Yeah. You
Making
understand that, heading east and making a turn south.
Yep. That makes sense. No, that's definitely the bus movement's definitely a big part of what we'll look at there.
And will you keep the current little funny buttons that are there? And
mm-hmm. Yes. We won't jump into that, because that can start to cascade. Yeah, it's like once you start touching things, it kind of is like, oh, touch that, So, it kind of what I've understood from the federal and the state kind of requirements and guidelines for improving sidewalks and things like that is you can work up to an intersection, and if you're not like to a corner of the intersection, and if you're not repaving the street, you don't have to go touch the other corners, but then as you do things, if like you're repaving the street, you got to make all corners compliant, and so it just can have a trigger effect of different things. And while we're still on the topic, if there was anybody in the audience who wanted to like ask some questions or provide input, you're welcome to come up to the mic.
But it's about the race intersection and those. Oh, yes.
Page 9.
Marked as 9, or is it?
It's in the very, very lower right corner. It's a tiny number. Yeah. You have to get your spy.
Oh, yes.
You have to get your spyglass out for it.
The gray box says 12.
The gray box would say 12.
Yes, right.
Okay. I was thinking. Okay, so what I'm thinking about is the small metal bit of the curb that sticks out on the corner. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I think
It's like a
I bet I do.
rectangular curb or a chunk of metal, and it's on the corner. It's definitely on the northwest corner, and I feel like it's dangerous.
Okay. I have a guess of what you're talking about. Let's go take a look.
It's like the rest of the curb is kind of worn down, except for this metal thing that's.
Well, that's a terrible image. That's interesting. Okay.
Causes a lot of damage.
Which is it? This thing right
Yes.
here? Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's a bad detail right there. Yeah.
It's so dangerous. I mean,
Yeah.
people get flat tires and stuff all the time. It's happened to 2 of our family's cars. So I thought
That's
I would
awful.
just ask about it.
That's some pretty good public input right there. Okay.
And whether or not that's something that was intentional, or that was kind of my question, was like, is this something intentionally put there for?
Well, this is the inlet grate for trying to get the stormwater out of there.
Yeah, I guess I meant intentionally put there for like traffic to like go in a different curve or something. So
I mean, the hope would be that nobody would run into it, but like, yeah. No,
Could put a big orange cone there. That'll be
Yeah,
the $2
something like
solution.
yeah. No, that's I really appreciate you bringing that up. That's something we'll keep an eye out for. And hopefully nobody's run into this fire hydrant that's, gosh, I mean, need to mow the grass right there too.
rough corner. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I had to really mention.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to ask a question that I think the answer is going to be a hard no, but if you 360 on this picture, if you head on the bike, this is going to be connecting to the bike path that goes straight through here.
Okay.
That bike path is not doing so good. There's really big divots and holes in it. People are going to complain about it once we have the beautiful 8 or 10 foot side path on the other side. So I don't know who owns this property. It's always been up for dispute whether it's the city or the universities. But if someone could just fill in the giant potholes, it would be really help folks out. I'm kind of surprised that it's just getting worse, but
Okay.
they're really big.
Okay. I'll bring that back. I have this impression that it's maintained by the city, but I guess I can't swear to it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is City Dior. This sidewalk is cities, yeah.
That's what I wanted to say too. Okay. Make that noted, and we'll take a look at it.
I've asked about it quite a few times, but
Okay.
the holes are really, really bad at this point. So if we could just
Okay.
sort of, next time they have the pavement filler out, they could just somehow, maybe.
Got it. Notes here.
And to be specific, it's past where where Bliss Drive meets up with Race. It's that area.
Okay.
It's
Past
that
like,
area past there. Yeah, if you
past like south of.
yeah, if you just go past
Okay, like
yeah, it's
down
right.
here.
It's right in there. Yeah,
Okay.
that whole it'll be so obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Well, anything else?
That's a good image to compare to this design here, that
Oh, sure.
Ray Street image, yeah.
right.
This is really exciting. I saw the pink flags go up, so it looks like on this street. So I'm just really excited for this. This is going to be, it's really going to open up transportation. People are going to be able to move down this street in a really different way. So thank you. Appreciate everyone's work on this.
Oh, thanks. All right. Okay. Let's see. I could do, I guess. Move on to just kind of general updates of transportation capital projects. Can see if this map will work for me or not. Hey, all right. So, kind of speak to this map. All right. So, I was going to touch on a couple of projects we got in the works. We have, as Annie brought up, there was the North Lincoln Avenue Washer to Killarney project. This is the one we've got where we have pursued a Safe Street and Roads for All grant. Coming up here, get a little better visual of it. This is the one where we are looking at a road diet, and it was brought to council because we were talking about appropriating some of our MFT funds for the demonstration aspect of the grant of demonstrating the road diet. And so that one's in the works, and we've got design underway, looking like, road diet demonstration probably in the fall, maybe as early as the spring, but probably in the fall of next year. And so we'll just be working through with the federal funds as we're kind of working through. We've got to get both the federal highways and IDOT to be to approve the demonstration before we go and do it. I had kind of joked that if I had to go do some patching on Lincoln Avenue and reduce traffic down to one lane in each direction, I wouldn't have to get anybody's approval for that. But to do this demonstration, I have to get a lot of buy-in, which is fine. And they're our primary concern is that we're going to do things that are safe and just think through carefully and design out everything so we get safe conditions during this demonstration.
And can I, one question that was brought up, because I've been trying to figure out where this starts and ends.
Sure.
So you have King Park there.
Mm-hmm. Down here at the south end.
Yeah, so it looks like if people want it looks like it's not going, is there any way to extend it? I guess my question would be, is there any way to extend it? You probably can't. But
Well,
to Fairview, or is it not necessary, is what you're going to tell me?
there's going to be some, we've kind of, we're using federal funds for the design. And so part of what you do when you go to use federal funds is you have to define the logical termini of the project, as the engineers like to call it. So we identify starting and stopping points, and you do that before you really get into design. Now, part of the idea of doing the road diet is you're going to have to taper, do that gradual taper from a wider 4 lanes to narrower 3 lanes. To me, like, we may be doing some of that between Washer and Fairview, and so there may be some happening there. That's kind of a detail we'll have to work out. Yeah. And, then you get up to the north part there at Killarney, and it'd be harder to do tapering of the geometry north of Killarney, because then you're getting into the interchange kind of traffic there. So,
And I know in yesterday's discussion, they talked about buses,
yeah.
because basically folks are getting dropped off and then they have to try to cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any no crosswalks are being added. I think it's just a road diet, is I think all the demonstration is, which will hopefully lead to a 19% drop in accidents on the street. But am I missing any parts of that?
Well, the demonstration is primarily for the road diet itself, but the goal of the project, I think a substantial goal of the project is to actually introduce at least 2 mid-block crossings, and that's an advantage the change of the cross-section can give us, by going from those 4 lanes of traffic to really 2 through lanes in the middle shared turn lane. That middle shared turn lane can be made a refuge island for so where pedestrians just have to cross 1 lane, rest, cross another lane. That's a hope there. Where here at Kettering Park, and then also south of Bradley, where we have the other apartments here, kind of across from that Vineyard Church. That's another good location. Yeah.
Would there ever be a chance, if this is successful, like they were saying last night, they're like, if this is successful, then they're going to apply for actual implementation grant. Would there ever be a chance from Washer down the other way so folks could get to King Park safely, or is this our only chance?
I mean, I think once we change the, unless it were to be going like to where we one day reduce the lanes farther south, because what you're looking at is, we look at, zoom back on Lincoln altogether, you've got where we're going to have, a 3-lane section going down from Green Street south, and then we'd have it north of University a little bit. There'd be this stretch here that wouldn't have it now. I don't know, I wouldn't say never, but this is our, probably in the foreseeable future, this is, the change we'll be making to Lincoln, at least in the next 5 to 10 years, I'd expect.
Because there could be some nice connectivity between Crystal Lake to King Park.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of like connecting your parks, there's I see a bike lane there.
Yeah, and like I said, there was the hope for maybe 2 to 3 mid-block crossings, and I think the other opportunity could be down at this end because of the, the neighborhood connectivity, especially to the school. So that's a thought that we had as well. We have to be cognizant of not spacing them too close together, but we'll want to check that out.
Yeah, anything that lets people feel comfortable crossing a street to go to a park, I am all for. Like they did on Windsor. It's not fantastic, all the blinking lights. We can do better on Windsor, but at least it's something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's that one, and zooming away from this project, and there's, like I said, the Florida Avenue street project that goes from really the Champaign boundary over to now I need to do some more filtering. Let's do. Okay, yeah, this will help.
And this website is pretty much available to the public, isn't it, John?
It is. Yep.
Layers.
That's still on. Well, but now this is not doing what I wanted to. But anyway, because it shows this like future project. Oh, it's the crack and joint ceiling. Okay. So let's do. Yeah, let's do that one. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that shows there's our shared use path that we were just talking about, and then the street project as well. InDesign, it's going through environmental review right now with the state. And then we've got of course, the Lincoln Avenue corridor study, which we'll be hearing about. We'll be getting the presentation from RPC to council. I want to say it's November 12th. It's at like second Monday night in November. Oh, it's going to be the 12th because the 11th is Veterans Day, so it'll be Tuesday the 12th that RPC will be bringing that to council to summarize the corridor study there. Let's see. November 12th.
Oh, November 12th.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have the Baker's Lane shared use path, which has a straighter alignment than what's shown here now. We've kind of simplified that. I'm expecting I'll probably bring that to BPAC in December, most likely. I think we're ready for that because we've got the same design team working on that as well, and they've got the Florida one going first, and then Baker's is lagging by a couple months, so they can catch a breath. Yeah, making progress on that one.
What is the crossing for people on Baker's Lane to get over to the Kickapoo Rail Trail?
Oh, sure. Well, our plan right now is to design a mid-block crossing at this location just to get it across the street, and then we'll coordinate with the Forest Preserve District to pick that up with their connection that they're designing there at the same time.
So it's pretty much a direct, it looks like you're pointing at sort of a direct connection then.
Yes, because they'll have their connection coming up through these properties here to the old rail alignment. So yeah, it'll be a pretty direct connection. Yep.
And that, just out of curiosity, the Forest Preserve Trail, will it go over Smith Road, or does it just end at the Baker's Lane Road?
It won't go past Smith Road yet. There's property things getting worked out. There's still tracks on the rail over here, so this is not quite worked out yet, but this will get us closer in town with it. Yeah. Let's see. I guess, and yeah, feel free to jump in if there's any others that any other projects that we're not touching on. But I know the equity and quality of life, the fiscal year 22 sidewalks, they're substantially complete now. We just have some earthwork to finish in, some sodding.
Can you show on
to
the
tie
map
up.
where all that EQL stuff happened? It looks like, I
Sure
was looking at it. I know people had concerns about it, and the one person I know who lives there, she said it's really exciting because people are walking on the sidewalk. And I
great.
walked on the sidewalk this weekend, and it was lovely. And I was seeing the other sidewalks coming in by Huaraches, I'm assuming is the EQL project as well, but I'll
Right.
wait and see.
You're right, yeah. So I'll just kind of step through them from south to north. We've got Silver Street from Fletcher to Philo. This one where we did sidewalk on both sides of the street. Yeah, we had positive feedback from residents there. Only had one person step in the sidewalk, fresh concrete. I think it was actually their dog. A dog ran into the concrete, but it was fixed. It was all good. Sorry. It was all good. What I should say, and what's also happening at the same time is we've got the new fire station is getting built here at Philo and Mumford in the southeast corner. And then our resurfacing project for Philo Road from Windsor to Colorado is also happening. So people think, we just have this laser focus on Philo Road, which, not a complete coincidence, but it's cool to see all this stuff happening at the same time. Yeah.
The Philo Road one, that is EQL?
That's just a motor fuel tax project, primarily driven by the resurfacing of the road itself. And so what we did is went and touched up some curb ramps and a couple of the pedestrian signals, I think down at Scoville, maybe.
And then what's the one by Huaraches? Is that EQL, or is that what you're discussing here? Okay.
It is. That one is EQL. Yep.
I will say that the person who requested the pedestrian changes, the pedestrian signal changes, was thrilled.
Is that right?
Totally and utterly shocked and thrilled.
This is down at Scoville you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Glad to hear it. Yeah, that was an early part where we're waiting to do the big hurrah, the big finale of the asphalt here in a couple weeks, but we got a lot of the pedestrian improvements out of the way up front. Let's see. So then coming up north, back to the EQL aspects, we have Fairlawn and Hawthorne. And I know I was excited about this one because we ended up taking this pretty wide intersection here and see if I can draw a little bit, and really squared off the intersection like this. So this person here got a lot more front yard, and we made it more of a perpendicular intersection to make it better visibility for the motorists, and also to make it a safer crossing for pedestrians, reduce the crossing length. So I think that was a real win there. Oh, well, I feel like every, it is really big, and I feel like this part of town, the roads just seem so wide to me, like, like Pennsylvania and Cottage Grove and all that. But no, so yeah, this one was sidewalk on one side of each road. Came together. That one's all sodded, I know now. We had Philo Road, where there was, yes, on the east-north side of the road, however you count it, that's getting us mostly between Washington and Fair Lawn. We weren't able to get all the easements that we needed, so there is some gaps in it, but we wanted to go ahead and at least build what we could, and we'll hope to try to fill those gaps in later if we can work it out with the property owners. But
There were private property owners that would not let you put a sidewalk on their property?
Correct. We weren't able to get easements from them. Yep. Yeah, I don't really want to get into the details about it, but so that it'll look weird. It'll look a little odd that there's some gaps, but that was kind of the best we could do without.
People are going to complain.
Yes, I don't doubt. An alternative would have been to build retaining walls. Even short ones would have been a little bit more cost than we wanted to bear at this time, but hopefully we can come to a resolution at that at some point. But okay, yeah, and then zooming out some more, we've got okay, a new shared use path constructed here from it, kind of the extension of Church Street that's connecting up with this development here. This is the retreat, is that right? Yeah, thanks. And so we've got new shared use path going up, connecting with this stub that was built with the development. Connect up with Harvey and Church there.
Will that be a public road or?
Yes, this is within a public. This is like an easement that we have to have that pass through to development. Yes.
I know Retreat currently is like a gated community, and the Lincoln Church, the intersection is kind of their main entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they will need a second gate for the north part.
Oh, okay. Take a look at what you're talking about here. Yeah, I think this is the pathway that runs through here. I have to get kind of up to speed on the details about the easement, but we do have, at least that part was kind of built out with the idea of having it connected eventually down that way. Yeah. I won't disagree. There's some interesting public-private ownership stuff that happens in here that I think is maybe not as clean cut as it could be, but it wouldn't be the only place in the city where that happens. But yeah. Okay, just a couple more locations. Got, over here on short stretch of Division Avenue, going from Kerr Avenue down to this development here. We had the sidewalk on the one side, and was really happy to see that we were able to work out actually making the road better shape too. We did some extra milling and asphalt work to smooth out. This was really not a very passable road. I have to be honest about that. So got it more traversable and drains better. And then in this horseshoe shape here, Highlands and Geraldine, we put sidewalk on the inside of the horseshoe going around. And we're able to make, also do a little bit of pavement improvement when we did our kind of oil and chip project this year as well. So those are the sidewalk locations.
Are you getting any feedback from anybody on these?
We really haven't gotten too much. We had just some people who bump up, neighbors who will bump into our guys in the field, just maybe say thanks for the sidewalk or something like that. Some people were looking for, glad to have it. We had some people who were concerned about tree removals in some of the neighborhoods that we just kind of explained how did we go about identifying which trees to remove and which to move, like have the sidewalk jog around it. But no, overall,
Speaking to public input, did you get a lot of public input on the Washer to Killarney project? Because I know the News Gazette had a big article on that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a lot of public
we
input and
did
response?
not.
Okay.
No, we did not.
Because I understood over on Prospect that IDOT got a ton of public
Sure.
input after the News Gazette ran an article.
Sure. Oh, I
Yeah.
bet so. I bet so. And we're definitely going to have a dedicated kind of public involvement. Whether it's open meetings, engaging with specific targeted stakeholder groups or whatever it might be, which that's part of the honestly that's part of the demonstration of the road diet. That's going to definitely invite a lot of feedback from people, which we look forward to, and just want to kind of see how people are experiencing it. So yeah, I see that it's 8 o'clock now. I don't want to take up the whole time. So any questions? Anything else?
So you presented the capital improvement plan then? Did you present it, or just these specific projects? An update on the capital improvement plan overall?
For you guys right now?
No.
Oh.
No, I know you didn't right now.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
has that come up?
We'll do the next
Has
round. We'll do an update probably in January. We'll kind of do like a mid-year update on how the progress is going, implementing it, and then
Okay.
get back to probably bringing it. I want to say we brought the new plan to council in like April, maybe March or April, something like that.
Okay.
For the lighting on Fair Lawn,
Mhm.
was it the same kind of lighting that you're going to use on Florida Avenue?
A little different, and for the EQL, the lighting, we are ordering materials now. We have a contractor under contract. We're ordering materials now, and there's going to be a little bit, at least a 4-month kind of lead time on those materials. So we're looking for spring installation of the lights. They're going to be a different style, they're called a colonial style. It's kind of a classic, kind of a tapered rectangle look, with four panels, and we're looking to use that 3,000 Kelvin, that warmer light. It'll be the 12-foot tall poles. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
No problem. Yeah, we're putting an order of 73 poles, and yeah, costs a pretty penny.
There's a reason it hasn't happened until now.
Sure. Okay. All right, I guess that's all I got.
Thank you, John. And our next item on our agenda is John Zeman presenting the annual budget for BPAC Education and Public Outreach.
Yeah. So this is, I guess a new thing that we're proposing. Up until now, I think it's been maybe not as formal of a thing of hey, the city's going to support some bike or pedestrian education and public outreach, and we just wanted to kind of make it more of a thing where say like, okay, BPAC, here's some money we're going to set aside in our operating budget for you to use, and like to have you guys make the decision on how do we use it. So then it's not as much of a kind of up to the city's discretion, like let BPAC kind of decide where you want to go with this. And so what I did include in the packet, and this is back in kind of the back past all the big pages, just included the receipts, or whatever invoices you want to say of what we spent in the last year. We spent around $2,500. Had $500 that went to Bike to Work Day and Bike Month as a financial support, and then also purchased 333 bike safety lights, and so that was just under $2,000 for that. And so I just wanted to bring this up as a proposal of what the city setting aside $2,500 for the purpose of education and public outreach. Get your guys' thought on that. Maybe that could be a thing that could be incorporated in the annual BPAC plan or goals. Is like kind of what would these want to continue with this? Are there other opportunities we want to think about?
Yeah, I was reading over the bylaws tonight, and I saw that we were supposed to advise on the budget, and I think it's always been taken as the city budget, though I wouldn't say that we've really done a lot on that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it's a very large thing. I don't know if it was meaning, so I'm a little unclear what it meant. Did it mean the budget for BPAC or the
Sure.
city budget, which is a rather large thing? And we have made recommendations relating to the amount spent on sidewalks and other infrastructure as a percentage of the capital improvement plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be an interesting thing. And actually, I just brought, when I saw that it was from CCB, I just brought some maps that they have recently put out. Here, I brought one for everyone. You can have one too, John. For you to work on your bike training. And they are seeking funding for this map production for the printed maps. And I don't know the ins and outs of that, but that's just an example of an outreach material that I have not myself looked at, actually.
I know we've often talked about tabling, like tabling at the farmer's market. I know that CCB is at the farmer's market, but we never formally, the city of Urbana is never officially at the market in the capacity of BPAC. I know we've talked about doing something like that.
Yes, bike education is something we've talked about being more formally involved with. I know many of us are involved individually, but identified as BPAC and doing an outreach. Again, how would we make that worthwhile, Other than alerting people to the existence of BPAC is worthwhile because if they have issues, they know they can bring it somewhere instead of just grousing outside.
I mean, and then there's bike parking, there's bike education, there's getting around the city, there's promoting the fact that we're a gold level city, there is transit, there is pedestrian infrastructure. It's basically talking in the same way that the arts and culture grants is very forward in who they are and how they promote themselves. BPAC is never, we've just never really have any funding to do anything like that.
Well, and I would say actually we had been more concentrating on the website design and had done a lot of work on that about 3 years ago maybe, but it was never implemented. I'm not sure if there is a possibility of that being implemented.
Oh, okay. And I wasn't aware of what you guys were working on. Was that because I know the city's been working towards a new website for a while now. Was that a dedicated like bike page of some kind, or BPAC page in particular?
We rewrote and re-edited the pages.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have that information, and I'm sure it's still exactly relevant, but I do know the city's getting a new website. So I kind of figured we could either wait until the city got the new website and then give feedback on it, or we can share with the city the work we did before.
Yeah, I'd say definitely share it. I know the plan is to go live, I want to say in like December with the new website. So we're getting pretty close with it. And it's part of the strategy to have it more scaled down, like basic, kind of website, not as many pages as we have today. But yeah, for sure, let's not lose what you guys worked on there.
Should I send it to you or somebody else?
Send it to Carmen.
Carmen? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it not shared with staff at the city that was present at the time? And maybe,
We worked with Lily and other people, but
Yeah.
I it's easy. I have a folder. I will just forward the folder of information. It's simple. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So let's see, as far as this annual budget, I guess, does that sound like something that we could work with, having is starting, tested out, started with $2,500, and I would say, maybe it's, we'll be, the next two items of business may kind of illuminate this as well, but as we get into this kind of annual cycle of annual report and goals for the next year, that may be a good time to have like goals with, identified items for this $2,500. And so I don't know if there's a motion to be, action to be taken necessarily, but
My only concern is that, like, it doesn't, like, we spent $2,500 on the lights and the bike to work, so it doesn't make us room for doing anything that we don't already do.
that's right, yeah. The only thing would be to somehow brand that this
Okay,
was brought
okay.
to you by BPAC
Well-
in some way, for BPAC to get involved. It
Yeah,
seems
and-
like, unless we're going to
Yeah,
pull
okay.
back on that.
well, or you could, you
Yeah.
could make the decision, like an option could be, instead of $2,000 going just to the light the night, it could be like a different amount, $1,500 or something, and then you have $500 more for something else. There could be.
Oh, okay, no, I was wondering
Well,
about
I
that,
do
but that-
think the opportunity would be there to take some ownership for
Right.
BPAC to
Right,
man
no,
a
yeah,
station,
I like
for
that.
example. And
Yeah.
have name tags or signs or something. We have mentioned that before, that we need some way to identify.
To be present in the
yeah.
community. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, or you have like you're getting, like another thing that folks sometimes do is like a getting started kit. So we could get MTD maps, we could get the bike maps, we can get lights, we can do, and it would just be the getting started kit, and it would be a great way to promote BPAC and what the city has to offer.
So those kids went very fast during the Night of the Lights. Yeah, they are very popular.
Oh, did they get used up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
how many were given away? Wait, or were you going to announce that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I'm just excited to know that BPAC has a budget. I guess I was sort of totally unaware of this, so
Well,
this is great.
Good. No, and I don't think it's really been a thing. We're kind of, it was at the administrative level of thinking like, look, let's, kind of look at where we've got items where we're having discretionary spending and stuff, like, well, this would be better, the decisions made by the commission, and so don't go bragging too much. I don't know, every commission has like money set aside, but. Right.
That is doing good stuff and people can associate, like we're not taking more, So So it's,
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Okay, the next item is new business goals and annual report. Whoops. Okay. We'll go to, okay, so here's our webpage, which is pretty much unchanged, as was noted for many, many years. And it's one of the, I would say as a commission, it's a pretty, John's really kept it up pretty nicely. We've got our meeting calendar, our members, which is up to date, I noticed, and our goals that we're looking at right now. And we did discuss this a few months ago, just a little bit as a mid-year check. And at that time, we're missing just a couple people here tonight. At that time, I think we were more or less on the time frame of maybe this is a couple years goals, and we don't need to do more than maybe make minor adjustments with things that have come up. But I'll give you guys a chance to look at it and see if anything comes to mind. And of course, you're always welcome to send suggestions in later, individually, not for discussion, but as a point of information. So we have been, I think we've been working very, in maybe a roundabout way. I mean, we haven't gone directly to try and get these speeds reduced, but we are certainly working at the edges like East Main and other places that are higher. But what we're really interested in is extending and we did have a couple meetings where we focused on the benefits of extending the 25-mile-per-hour university speed zone to at least the residential areas and core business areas. And it's more the strategy of, this gets back to outreach. How do we obtain the political will to do this, I think is really the question. We know it's technically possible. We have many, many examples, especially the city of Crystal Lake comes to mind, that because they're so comparable to Urbana, and they just did it. So I know one issue was finding funding for the studies. So again, we've been working towards that goal, working on finding a grant opportunity that could do a study to get that speed zone implemented. So I think part of the annual report would be to explain what is the strategy for this goal, what the strategy has been, as well as to get support, which without education, it can be hard to do. I think we have not had the opportunity to really do the outreach, maybe. I mean, people know, everywhere you go, people say the cars are going too fast. The cars are going too fast. That's like one of the most common complaints that are heard. But getting people to express that in more than just my neighborhood kind of way, more looking at the whole city, is more difficult.
I can say, as a person who's recently been talking to a lot of people about a wide range of issues, I am over and over again surprised at how many people they want crosswalks and they want the speed reduced on residential streets. I'm deeply surprised by that. I really didn't realize, yeah,
That slowing down their cars would not offend.
yeah, people are very much for this initiative.
I know, I recall that Cynthia Hoyle did a survey of looking at accessibility to parks, and that was like the most common complaint was the cars are too fast, I'm afraid to go to the park. So it's, and the thing is there is a movement and there's support at the federal level, and getting that message out, the support at the federal level, of course, is particularly awesome, and we hope it continues.
But if we got the funding for the SS4A, that could be one of the, I mean, I know in Minneapolis, when I was there, they just had the Coroplast signs up that said, save lives, reduce speed, coming soon, and they put them up on the street poles. And it was the city that did it, letting people know that the speed limit is going to be dropping throughout the city, I think down to 20.
Yeah, even Knoxville, Tennessee went ahead and reduced their speed to 25. Responding to all the complaints. They started with neighborhoods that requested it, and then they decided to go for the whole city. So we're working on that, I think, pretty steadily, but whether we're getting anywhere, I'm not sure. We're hoping. Any suggestions for how we might reach out further? Again, with $2,500, we can surely take that far. There are, there's wonderful talks and flyers available now, as this has really become a national movement. There's really great things that you look at and say, how could anybody not see it when they see this? But just finding the venues to pass those out. I mean, maybe the farmer's market or other tabling events. Then we had a Florida Avenue, great. We had a presentation today studying the progress on that. And then Washington Street, you've mentioned the SS4A for addressing that, Annie. I think you had that in the SS4A request, and as well as Vine Street for safe routes to school type of thinking. The Getting Around website updated, which we're actually looking at right now, and that, as Annie mentioned, there was a lot of work done on that. We actually had a subcommittee that worked on it for about 4 to 6 months, I think, maybe 6 months, and then and did have a complete product to discuss with the city. The East Main Street resolution, I don't recall if I let you know that it turns out we did not put a formal review on those plans, that bike and ped plan regarding, actually it says added to bike and ped plan. Now I have to think about that. I was thinking of the KRT plan, because that's what we were reviewing at the time we looked at the East Main Street resolution, and we did not actually have a formal review to put an addendum onto. So this would just take the form of a letter transmitting the resolution that was made at the time about the KRT second option.
And I'd just go back up to Washington Street speed issue. Cottage Grove has a similar, Cottage Grove is a very, what they did was they stripped parking on one side of the street, and the SS4A grant could simply make it so the parking is on one side of the street, and then on the other side of the street, and then on the other side of the street, and then that would most likely slow down traffic because folks wouldn't be able to speed down the street as fast. It wouldn't take anyone's parking away. So that's another, if we get the SS4A grant, it'd be great to get Cottage Grove on there, because people have complained for years about the cars driving down that street too fast, and it's unsafe and very, very wide. And you don't want to bike down it. Well, you kind of can, but.
Well, again, equity issues are really important to address in the SS4A grant process. I know that's a big feature, as well as crash rates. Has the city begun to think about potential projects for an SS4A grant?
I think right now, our thoughts for the SS4A, the next round would be trying to look big at the Lincoln Avenue, the North Lincoln Avenue, and the South Lincoln Avenue, potentially looked at as a kind of a unified improvement to a corridor, because we'd have the South Corridor study done, and we'd have design more advanced with the North project. Looking for implementation, I guess, is what I'm saying.
And there wasn't an implementation grant for Lincoln Avenue put in before?
That's right.
And then just the planning part or the demo part was funded?
Yep.
I know it's a very high crash rate corridor, so it probably has one of the more strong potentials in the city.
Yeah. For which we just don't have the numbers compared to some other areas of the country but yeah, it's kind of our better shot that we have.
Yeah, I did notice Danville received about $10 million in SS4A implementation. But their fatality rate is something like 14.6 per 100,000 compared to ours that's in the MPA that RPC was applying for was like 2.6, something like that. And Urbana's fatality rate is on the order of 5 per 100,000. So it does reduce our chances when they're looking for high fatality rate areas. But equity is a really big part of it too. But again, that's completely something you don't get to talk your way out of. They have the database that you have to use, and it may or may not capture the truth of what's happening on the ground. I think that's what makes that really difficult. So I would hope that when you put in for an implementation grant, you could include, at least as the guidelines were this year, they really wanted to give you something. So if you put in for planning and studies, traffic calming and so on, they were apt to also fund that at least, even if the implementation itself was no-go. And then, so that's the Lincoln Avenue. So we have done all that, state, and then we've got our future goals, which wayfinding, that's something that is probably not on, it should be on the agenda because we've got a report that hasn't been implemented at all, as far as I know. Is there any activity with that wayfinding report?
No, there's not right now.
Yeah, so that has not even come up as a topic. So that's something that BPAC could get behind, is to urge implementation of that if the benefits seem to justify it. The SS4A grant, of course, and then the Meander, the Urbana Meander Trail. Annie's working very hard on that. And so this leads right in then to our long-range I hope you guys can make it to the Thursday presentation. Today was the last day for comment, which I don't quite understand, presenting it a couple days after comments are closed, but anyway, I'm sure that it's really valuable to attend and see we've been following it a little bit, but now they're hoping to get this approved by December, I believe.
So, Audrey, you're saying tomorrow night there's a meeting.
It's Thursday.
Thursday night there's a meeting here at 7 p.m.
Yep, it's the Plan Commission, their regular meeting, and So then BPAC and the Sustainability Advisory Commission are both invited to attend as, to, hear the presentation and ask questions. It just won't be a BPAC meeting, but per se. Yep. And I think what they're doing is they're having the public round of input. This third round of public input is ending today, and then they're going to bring it to the agencies and to get the to all of the city councils. And for Urbana, they're doing both Plan Commission, the kind of a joint commission presentation in a sense, and then to city council. So they're going to bring the same show to city council on November 12th. So November 12th is going to be RPC Day at City Council, Lincoln Avenue Study, and the Long Range Transportation Plan.
Great.
Yeah.
It might be a good chance to, if you've ever been curious what city council's like. Of course, it could be unusual for city council if they're enjoying some visionary presentations instead of trying to solve immediate problems. And then just a note about this, though, it's a little bit, viewing upcoming meetings is a dead link going nowhere right now. And I think it's true of quite a few things. There is, however, this archive takes you to it's not even very old. It's as of December 2023. So if you want to find the more recent ones, you actually need to go to this new meeting site here. And there's these meetings or calendar view. You can look at it like that, or you can look at it like that, and each one has their packets posted. But it's a little hard to find, and this is true for almost all the commissions. I mean, it's just desperately in need of the website is desperately in need of a upgrade.
I hear you. No, and I appreciate you bringing those up, Audrey. It's definitely not desirable. I'll share too some of our frustrations. Just for example, if you were to Google the term Urbana, Illinois GIS, because we want to have people pointed to our maps more, you cannot find our public portal. It's for however it's there's some kind of security things on it that are not like letting it come up in the Google search. So and don't even try using the search bar on our current website. Don't even try. But no, definitely looking forward to a better user-friendly website.
Do you have any idea the last time this website was updated? I mean, I'm like totally serious.
I'm guessing 10 years. I mean, it's extremely old.
I'm just curious.
In case anyone doesn't know how to find the old meetings, I think this is the best way to just remember or write down UPTV 6, YouTube. Go to that. Go to playlist. Well, actually, you happen to see us right there, but normally it's going to look like this.
Don't turn that on. It'll be like a hall of mirrors or something.
Oh, that's the current. Oh, I didn't. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so you just go down here and it has each year of city council, but you'll find it if you keep looking. There it is. So that will actually have all the meetings in one place. If you know what you're looking for, you can find it there. It's a little bit convoluted to find those agendas. As I showed you, you kind of needed to know where to look, but hopefully the situation is only temporary because it does make you...
The web team also only has $2,500.
Yep.
Don't blow it all in one place, please. Okay. And then, so we have our goals, and we had the last annual report, which was done by Bill Brown. And very attractive. He still listed us as gold, though it was a little up in the air at that time. And it did actually come in by 2020, May 2023. Not this May, last May. It's been a year already. Just a quick, plug for active transportation. I don't know if anyone read it, but we can hope so. And then our goals that were more complicated at that time, maybe more aspirational. But then he covered a lot of the capital improvement plans, activities, which John just covered for us, and actually are in his presentations routinely updated for the capital improvement plan. But I like his focus here. I mean, he obviously went out and took photos himself of some of the improvements just to let council know what was going on. The Windsor Road snafu with the rumble strips that don't have brakes. Being a major cyclist, he talked about that. And the lighting, the beautiful lighting on First Street, the EQL projects. He has a map of those projects, but I think that's probably kind of out of date. It doesn't, I mean, I think you've got much more updated stuff on the GIS, yeah. And then, Vision Zero, the crash dashboard, which right now is definitely worth taking a look at. I was looking at it more, and some features aren't immediately obvious, but for example, we see in 2023, Urbana had 0 fatalities, which is wonderful. We did have 29 severe injuries, so of course that's really bad. But you can also, if you click on that thing, it will reduce the map down to just the thing that you clicked on, so that you can, it's very, I know people have looked at it and it's kind of difficult, but when you have it reduced to where you can see the few dots, you can get some details about it. And bicycle crashes were 14. I didn't realize, I think in 2023, Savoy had a fatal bicycle crash looked like it was on Neil, actually. And it was said it was improper lane usage. I don't think that was covered in the News Gazette at all. It may have been, and I just missed it, but usually we're aware of bike fatalities that happen. But you can find out quite a bit from this. However, getting the details is still going to require a request to the police department. But they do at least have the basic state data that's been reported from Urbana to the state, quality controlled for conformity to their other data and returned, which RPC then is posting and doing what's called a annual report, LRTP report card. And they roll this into the statistical summary, which is a rolling 5-year average, which is a little bit hard to, and for the whole MPA. They don't break it down by city. As I've mentioned before, this is the place where you're best going to find city things. And this goes back to 2019, so it's what we have, and it's pretty not incredibly intuitive, but once you start looking at it, you see it has more features than you realize.
Audrey, I know like one of our goals at a certain point was to have a better handle on where crashes were happening in our city, and I do know that Chief Boone is sending out ward by ward crime statistics, and I'm wondering if it's possible to figure out a way to get crash statistics like broken down for us on that level, because I'm assuming they're collecting it and I'm assuming it's available.
That's a good question. I'm not sure that the police statistician is looking at that kind of information since we have the RPC. I don't know whether they certainly had a database that listed the locations, but
Sure. No, I don't know if they are looking at that right now, but I know that their statisticians, got some really good analysis that she's been doing, and I think there's a need, something that she could do as an example. as we're working on the next kind of program for another cycle of EQL, she prepared for me kind of a heat map of types of crimes that could be, mitigated or affected by the presence of streetlights. This would be crimes that happen outside of a building at night, focus on like violent crimes and, things like that. And it was a way to draw in, like, here's some areas that would benefit from streetlights. So I feel like a similar kind of analysis could be done with traffic-related incidents as well, yeah.
Yeah, a very proactive approach to crime, looking at where we can improve on that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, again, one of the problems with just depending on RPC is the way the data gets rolled together. Here we do see this granular detail, which is great, but you still have to draw your own conclusions because it's going to be rolled together in their reports. They're not going to say, and here's Urbana. And Urbana, as we've talked over many times, has a very high proportion of pedestrian fatalities. So we kind of basically provide the pedestrian fatalities for the area, but it's not identified by city. Okay, so there's that, and then the reports that were, I believe that we should go ahead and include 2023 since that wasn't covered, and material, that we did since 2023 should just go ahead and go in here on kind of a rolling basis. It's always possible also to look to amend the bylaws if we want to include a little more detail, like what budget means, or having a official MTD representative, for a couple things that come to mind. And here again, budget. So this is what I think he might have meant by budget for sidewalk and path maintenance. And this is something
The budget here was specifically for education and public outreach, the budget item line. So are you suggesting?
No, I'm saying how Bill had interpreted the idea of budget, discussing budget.
Yeah. And I would totally echo that, Audrey. I mean, I think it's the intention of the language and the way the bylaws are written too. I mean, really a primary function of BPAC is to advise council, budget, goals, all that stuff. So
Good luck.
but I mean,
Yeah.
by all means, yeah. I mean, that's so for sure. I mean, weighing in on the capital budget as it relates to pedestrian and bicycle, accommodations and safety and things like that. Definitely. And I really do like Bill's report here too. I would kind of challenge BPAC. You think about, like, what are you trying to accomplish with this annual report? Who's your audience? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to document what you did, or do you want to persuade? I mean, maybe there's a little both, but this could be, is this a way you want to try to really bring these issues to, council's attention, try to get them to take notice? To kind of think about, what do we want to try to accomplish with it? Yeah. So it could be a good avenue for really trying to, that conversation you're talking about reducing speed limits, the benefit, and the more topics we try to cover in the annual report, the more topics we try to get in front of council, it might get diluted, So
that's true. Having something of a theme, I think, might be a much more valuable presentation than trying to cover time accounting.
Yeah, because I would say, and I think that's actually, it's true too. It's kind of not like, this is just my opinion. I'm just, just my opinion. Like, council's not like the employer of BPAC. You need to account for what you did with your time, but it's kind of, how are you advising
We
council?
spent our 2,500 part.
There you go. You guys are not going to let that. Very good.
Yeah, that's really, really sage advice. If I can borrow a word from Annie. No, it's. And then staff support for BPAC, I hope that it's working out better. I was a little surprised when John was drafted into being the secretary as well as an attendee, that like the rest of us. I hope, and I think he's still doing quite a lot more than any previous public works employee did. It would be nice to have more staff support, because I'm sure John has a lot of other things to do, but John is leaving us anyway. 3 years, he's had enough.
Don't want to hog all the fun. That's all.
John, you've been just incredible leader of BPAC, and I have to say you really have been a leader as well as the secretary. It's been quite an amazing performance.
Well, thanks. Don't get sentimental, because Carmen has the same childcare issues that I have at times, so I'm sure we'll be covering for each other at times. But
Well, I mean, you left us so functional that we were able to keep going, which is kind of amazing. I'm just not sure we had that before.
I'm glad the child care issues weren't a reference to actually BPAC, but actual children. That was appreciated.
Maybe that's where he learned his skills. Yeah, I hope that maybe that'll come up, but I'm just not sure. I know there's been terrible personnel shortages in most of the departments. So it may have not been possible, and John has really stepped up to an amazing level. And then we were able, they had, at that time, I think we should probably, the gold level bicycle friendly was mentioned to council, but again, it's something that they didn't really know what's involved. I don't think I don't believe they had any presentation on that at all. Yeah.
no, I think it was just an announcement.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Maybe a few words on what that means and what Vision Zero, along with what Vision Zero feeds into it. And then traffic calming. Oh, a little off topic, but you had several speed studies done. And I was wondering if there was any chance for SS4A grants or other follow-up on that.
Sure, yeah, we had a couple locations that came up as, I think, good candidates that we're considering for EQL. One would be North Broadway along Crystal Lake Park. Another one potentially was Kerr Avenue, with juts off of Broadway there. And there may be an opportunity down in the Silver Water neighborhood as well. But and this, again, my opinion is that some of these traffic calming measures, as we're going through this SS4A demonstration grant, at least the way this federal grant is written, is just like way too much administrative cost for what the cost of these traffic calming measures would be, generally speaking, unless it was like a larger, endeavor. But those are kind of the low-hanging ones, because there was some areas that did not show statistically significant speeding that we studied, and some did. Yeah, in the works still.
E-bikes, which Bruce has faithfully followed up on that, and also even expanded to the battery issue. And I understand that Carmen has a lead on getting some expert knowledge on that topic. And then I don't know, we might have someone who, do you guys also deal with the e-bikes, with the bike share programs, or is that more planning?
Yeah, we've had our colleagues in planning, of course, like Lily was covering that before she left, but we got to do some catch up on that. I know that now we've got two operators. We got Bird also started to have some bikes in the area as well, in addition to VO. So I know there's some work in that area to be done to, solidify that. It's just not been rising to the priority list yet. But.
Audrey, I found the website text updates, and then I also have found this other brochure we made that was 10 great places to walk and bike. And it turns out these were completed in 2020. But do you want me just to share these with Carmen, and then she could just maybe give me feedback and see, like, or should we review it together as a group next month? It seems like they're moving very fast, and I sort of wonder if we shouldn't just. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I believe we did review it and approve it before, so you don't really need to go through that again. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you guys have been just incredibly patient to wait 5 years to see your work hopefully go somewhere, because I know you did a lot of work on that. Okay, so my thought right now was to send a draft out in the next week or two of an annual report and take feedback on that, and then we could approve it next month with discussion. Okay. Okay, the next item is announcements.
Okay, so round two. For campus bike plan, we've got public input. We're still accepting public input for the campus bike plan. If you haven't already, please submit your feedback. The website to go to is go.fs.illinois.edu/bike plan public input. And you will find the document over there as well, and form basically for feedback. Then last month we had Light the Night and Bike to Work Day events, and for Bike to Work Day this year we've got 1,200 people who pre-registered, which is another record. Like, we are breaking records every year. Yay. And for Light the Night, we gave out about 800 light sets on September 19th. And we still have to figure out, like, we've got the leftover lights, and we are figuring out how to distribute those now. In the last month, I have installed, how many? 13 bicycle and pedestrian counters all across campus. I have one more counter left, which will go on the southwest side of Illini Union, basically just south of Altgeld Hall. Need to get that location approved again, but I have, like, now we have 23 bicycle and pedestrian counters all over campus. There is one counter that's at Green and Lincoln that's on Urbana right-of-way, and it wasn't also installed like in the last month. Other than that, on Urbana side, we've got new counters at the intersection of Goodwin and Gregory, and all the other counters are interior to the campus, or they're interior to the campus. If you want to see the data, please let me know, and I can share that data with you all. We post monthly data on the ICAP portal, which I presented maybe a few months ago. I don't remember when I did that, but we normally or enter our monthly bike and ped data on the ICAP portal. But if you want to see more detailed data, let me know. get you access.
And this data is super valuable for grant opportunities.
Yes, for grant opportunities, and actually, like, students love these data, and like for any research project. I'm working with so many students right now who are using the bicycle and pedestrian counts data. And I will also actually be working with a couple of professors who had shown interest in doing some crowd management topics, and especially now that I have like 5 counters around main quad, we'll have it will be interesting to see how many people are going in and out of the main quad area, especially.
Fantastic, thank you. Anyone else? Any other announcements? Okay,
Can I just confirm it's Carmen Franks I'm sending this email to?
yes.
Okay.
DA Franks.
And one last thing, we need to, next month, we do need to do an acting vice chair. I believe we don't have one, is that right? Okay, yeah, we forgot to do one earlier. Any other agenda items for next month that come to mind right away? Not yet.
Did Charlie send an email about reduced speed limits?
Yes, he advocated for adding several more road segments to the Schedule Q, which is speed limits below the statutory state limit. So, yeah, there would be plenty of material to discuss there. That would be something that definitely would involve the Traffic Commission, I believe, unless, again, kind of our hope is that actually we go look at a citywide policy and maybe not mess with these street-by-street single segments, adding to general confusion for the driving public and so on. It would be really neat to just go with a citywide policy and be able to skip all that, because Schedule Q could start getting ugly if we really went with that. And then we talked last month about Schedule A already, so I don't know how much. I think, is Public Works going to be working on making those corrections, John?
Yeah, we're going to be looking into it. The same engineer who was observing the BQL sidewalk construction, now that he's done with that, he's back in the office, and that's that's on his list, is reviewing our traffic concerns and the schedules for, looking through, validating the items that Charlie identified as being inaccurate or missing an ordinance, kind of validating all that, and then working through the suggestions, requests that he had.
Yeah, it's very interesting. For example, I know when Bill Brown presented the annual report, actually, the last presentation he did on Schnucks and Vine, he thought it was 35 miles per hour because that's what was in the consultant's report. But actually, I see it's posted at 30, which is interesting because in the ordinance it says 35, but somebody said, well, I think 30 makes more sense. So. And it wasn't correct. It doesn't appear to be correct in the ordinance. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And it does appear that was, somebody just put it on the web. Another thing to deal with the web issue. Yeah. Okay. Well, may I have a motion? Well, I guess I don't need a motion for adjourning. If there's nothing else, I will send out a call for agenda items, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.